a rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but the beauty a rich man's world.
Hey everyone, Angus here with Iron Boat Fly Shop. Today we're going to be tying up a Morrish October Caddis. This pattern's really great late fall. I like using it as a dry dropper. You can also fish it as a single fly, but it gives a really good profile and presentation for October Caddis. So to start out here, we're going to start by cutting our foam. So for this size, which would be a size 10, I want to cut it about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to use my ruler here, and I'm going to cut this foam. So now that we've got our piece of foam cut, what I want to do is I'm going to take a sewing needle. I'm just going to put this through the center of that piece. And this is just going to help us tie our extended body. So again, we're just going to put that piece of foam through the center. If you don't have a sewing needle, you can always cut off the shank of a hook. And we're just going to coat this here with a little bit of low-tack wax. Now I'm going to start my thread towards the back of our sewing needle. I'm just going to throw a little half hitch in here. It just helps keep our thread where we want it. And the trick with extended bodies, because we have to pull them off of the pin, is to try and keep our thread wraps as loose as possible, because eventually we will have to get this off of the pin. So I'm just going to work my thread forward here, and we're just going to create little segments for our extended body. I like to use about 1/8 of an inch for the segment of the body, about the same width as our foam. So once we get to the front here, I'm just going to throw in a quick whip finish. Trim off our thread, and we are ready to tie this in. So now that we've got our extended body tied, we're going to be tying this on a Daiichi 1180. Today we're going to use a size 10. So we're just going to start our thread behind the eye of the hook. I'm just going to wrap backwards. And we only want to go to about the midpoint of the shank. So about half the hook is going to be exposed. So I want that body just to extend backwards about 1 or 2 segments from the bend of the hook. So now that we have our body tied in, I'm just going to trim off the excess. So here we're going to be tying in a small piece of foam. Today we're going to be using the Hareline 2mm in brown. We're just going to wrap that just to create our head. Make sure everything's tied down. Now we're ready for our elk hair. So today we're just going to be using natural. And I want a fairly large clump. I always like using more than less on this one. So I want this to be about roughly the width of a pencil. So now that I've got my hair selected, I'm just going to trim that at the bottom. Pull out all the other fibers that don't necessarily need to be there. Makes it a little more difficult to tie in. So I'm just going to use my ergo comb, brush out all the fibers, smaller hairs. Give it a little brush, and then first I'm going to stack it So I'm just going to throw this in my Loon Zippy hair stacker. Just going to give that a couple good taps. So the tips are nicely aligned. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to cut the butt sections off. I'm going to give this another good stack. So now that we've got our elk hair all set up, ready to go, it is ready to be tied in. So when tying in the elk hair, I just want it to extend just past that extended body. When it's tied in, it'll always pull forward just a little bit. So I like leaving a little bit of room so that it lines up perfectly with that extended body. So I'm going to get a couple good tight wraps on that. And before I let go of the elk hair, I'm going to trim all of the butt sections off, just to make sure I don't cut any of the tips. So we're going to tie in our hackle now. I'm going to be using the Keough Tyer's grade cape in brown. So I've sized this, it's size 10 feather. So I'm just going to wrap this guy forward here. Come over with my thread. Make sure that feather's on there nice and secure. It's not going to slip out. I'm just going to trim off the stem. Get a couple wraps in front of our foam. Now we're ready for our whip finish here. Sometimes it can be a little difficult. Just got to pull that head back. Get a couple whip finishes in there. We're just going to clean up the head here. And there you have it. That is the Morrish October Caddis.